Okay, we're talking with Jimmy the Iron Bull Pellechia, and we were talking a little bit about the 10-15 bench that you did, the classic shot heard around the world of bodybuilding, that is. You're at the gym, Gold Gym Venice. You got the Pagans there who are going to spot you.
I just want to say I'm not affiliated with the Pagans. I don't want
No, I know. You were just you were friends.
What happened was a couple of the guys that worked out in the gym happened to be Pagans.
Okay.
I had nothing really to do with that.
Right.
But I got a little friendly with them, and then I told them about this possible photo shoot.
No one else wanted to spot you. It was 1,015 pounds.
Yeah, they were spotting me like 700, 800.
What'd you have? Two guys, one guy on each side and one guy in the middle?
Yeah, actually, Eric Mosley, another old friend of mine, he actually got the middle, and then I had the two bikers on the ends. So what happened was when I told them that, I was going to possibly do a photo shoot, they got all excited, and they were going to come down with the whole, the club.
Yeah.
And like I said, it rained that day, so they never got to do that. So they just winded up in the gym.
Right.
That's how they got there.
What's going on in your mind the night before this event? You're saying to yourself, tomorrow I'm going to try to do what no human being is in their right mind to do. Not only that, 400 pounds more than the next best, greatest bench of all time. I'm going to go on to over 1,000 pounds. Did you worry that maybe I'm going to hurt myself?
What's funny is because, like I said, I was doing a photo shoot that whole week. I wasn't even thinking about a bench press, event.
But you knew it was going to happen the next day.
I knew what happened was when I was training and doing photo shoots. We had all the umbrellas set up every day. Michelle was doing. I was doing different body parts. And Don Ross was there writing it up because it was in MD, and people were asking me in the gym during the week, "Yo, Bull, when you going to bench?" I says, "Probably Friday," because I wanted to do all the.
So you didn't even have a set day?
No, I didn't. I said probably Friday. So people, during the courses of
you weren't one of these guys who would take off 4 days before. You just lifted normally, right?
No, I did.
It was another day.
You know how hard photo shoots are, man. And I was lifting in my photo shoot, so I did body parts every day. And people were asking me when I'm going to bench, because everybody heard about the benches I was doing before.
Right.
And I told everybody the same thing. I said probably Friday. So anyway, come Friday. Hundreds of people showed up, man.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, hundreds.
Did they know
the Barbarian brothers were there. Dave was there, too.
Did they know you were going to do 1,000 pounds?
Actors were there. No, I didn't even know I was going to do 1,000. So what happened was, I knew I was good for close to 9, 9 and change, So I started, doing the photo shoot. And then some video company came there. And they asked me permission if they could film. They had ladders. They were filming from the ladders.
Did you ever get that video footage?
I never got it.
I wonder where it is.
Yeah, I know, right?
So what? You started with what?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah,
right. So anyway, I just started, doing it. 500, I did 6, and I was working, and then Frankie was, pushing me. I went to 7, I went to 8, and I did 9.
9 plates in each side. So you weren't just jumping. You were doing one serial plate.
I was taking pretty good increments, So then that's when I was getting ready, because I was at 9, I think, already.
Yeah.
8 something. It was like really up there. And Don Ross, that's when we started discussing what we're going to do next. Because I knew
you had never done anything more than what? What was the most you had ever done?
It was probably 875.
You'd never done more than 875.
No,
and Don Ross like, you know what? Let's do 1015. That's a big jump.
No, people saying go for 1,000, go for 1,000. I said, Don, what do you think, 1,000?
But that's a big jump,
Don's
though.
like, no, we got to go.
Yeah, but that's a huge jump. So, weren't you worried?
I think at that point I did get a little started thinking about it a little bit, because what happened was, I remember they were setting it up, and they were trying to figure out how to get the weight on the bar with the duct tape. So I said, I got to go to the bathroom.
Were you nervous?
So I went into the bathroom, and I walk in, and I got on my knees, and I made the sign.
You did.
I know how much weight that was.
Yeah.
I was like, Lord, I says, please help me get through this one bench. I said, I'll probably never do it again. I said, it'll be just one-time event. Please don't let it go down.
What?
That's what I did. So I came out of the bathroom. Everybody was cheering me on.
Did you think about your dad at all during that?
I was thinking about everything. Yeah, because I if this thing went down, I probably could have got serious.
You could have been killed.
I could have. If it landed on my neck, or if they didn't catch it in time. You talk about a half a ton and an inch and a half diameter across your forehead or your eyes or your throat or whatever. I went to the hospital with 8 something landed on me, and I bruised all my organs internally. They were rolling me like pizza dough. They couldn't get it off me. And that was a Staten Island. I told you that story. Yeah, they were rolling it.
So this could have been.
I felt all my organs coming out, as they couldn't lift the weight because it was eight something, 855.
The guys who were spotting weren't strong enough.
They weren't strong
You
enough.
wouldn't go for strong spotters. You would just go for people who were regular lifters.
I was going for women. Women were. Rita was actually spotting me for 8 and change. You know,
she was probably stronger than
and
most
I
of
did
them.
it because I wanted to show. I didn't need a behemoth behind me. I just needed someone to get me through the rep.
Right.
So I would always use women, or Rita would come with me until she started taking on her own show. I had to cut her off. So that one seminar, I dropped it. I did 855. Instead of doing like 2 reps, I had to go for 3 or 4 like a moron, and it dumped on me, and it crushed me, man. You know, and everybody was scrambling, and the 2 guys were trying to lift it. And as they were lifting it, the weight was, rolling, and it started rolling down, down
It's
to
very painful because it's concentrated on that one little bar.
I couldn't even breathe, Dave. I didn't even want to sip of air like this because I knew that whatever air I had locked
Were you
in
afraid
there,
they weren't going to get it off you?
Yeah, at that point I was like, I'm done because they couldn't get it off, and so I had air inside me. When it hit me, I had air, so I didn't want to let that air out,
Right.
I felt like a deep sea diver.
You probably saved your life by doing that.
Yeah, so. And then they started rolling down to my belt line, and I was trying to, trying to say no if I could talk, because I couldn't let no air out. If I would have said no, all the air would have came out of me. Right. And who knows, everything would have came out of me that time. So, and they got to the belt line, I felt stuff coming out, I felt it. I'm like, oh shit, this is gonna be bad, And then 2 more guys, 4 guys, man, they heaved it over from my waist to my knees, and the poor guy who was spotting me.
You didn't crush your knees, yeah.
They made it right over my knees. There was a dumbbell over here because I was doing flies earlier. Yeah. And one guy was spotting me. He had my straps on. You know how they strap on? Uh-huh. So he was stuck.
He was stuck to the thing?
The whole time. So his hand was hurting too. His knuckles were digging at me.
Yeah.
So when they got the weight over, the poor kid went flying with the ball. I saw him launch over my body, right? And his head hit the dumbbell.
Oh, my God.
And he was bleeding, like bad. I got up and people were cheering because I made it. It looked like a car accident. People laying all over the place. This guy was bleeding to death. It was bad, right? Yeah. People were like running out of the way,
So you got to be thinking about this when you're doing the 10-15. You're like,
well, because I recall that one time. Yeah. But just to make a quick story fast, what happened was after it was all over and I was getting ready to leave, I was going to go to the hospital. I had to go. And the kid comes over that was spotting me. He wanted an 8x10, right?
The kid who was bleeding?
Yeah, he had the thing on his head with the eyes. I mean, he split his head open pretty bad.
Yeah.
So I said, yeah, $10, So
you charged him for that? You regret that?
So after I was leaving, I'm driving something to the hospital. I'm saying, I just charged that guy $10. Poor bastard. I felt so bad for him. I wasn't going to turn around and go back and give it to him.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking.
But that's you. You're a very sensitive guy, though.
Yeah,
people don't realize that.
I felt so terrible, man. But yeah. So when I was in the bathroom praying, I was thinking about all that crap in my past.
Right.
And I was asking, God, please just get me through it. Because people might say, oh, it was BS. You had a spotter. But you don't realize, man, I weighed 219.
Yeah, I know you were not a big guy.
10% body fat. I wasn't a big guy. I'm 5'11".
You had no legs, really, to
I
brace
really
yourself.
I had chicken legs.
It was all upper body.
I run like a deer, but I really had no, I had no big, So anyway, I got under the weight, and.
Now, just before you say how you lifted it, you were known in the gym. Anytime Jimmy Pellechia was in the gym, everyone knew it because you'd hear this loud grunting sound.
The barking I did and all that.
You barked, yeah. I mean,
I used to do that.
Yeah. I mean, and it was louder than that. Yeah. I mean, really.
I think I got that from martial arts.
Oh, okay.
I kind of incorporated it with the,
Well, it helped you move the weight
with the power, with the stroke.
Come on, draw, keep going. Move this man! This man is the ultimate warrior in the world! The strongest, the best, brother! Will you come, Iron Bull? Will you come and conquer the world with us? Yes! Here we come! What you gonna do when the Iron Bull and Alexander the Great conquer the world? Yeah!
I can't even imagine the sound that must have come out of your mouth when you were probably pushing that 10-15 up.
I gotta watch the video, man. I don't remember if I screamed or I just was silent. I can't remember.
I bet you were screaming.
I remember I blacked out. I remember that.
Did you really?
Coming back up, I don't even barely remember the weight coming back up. I was pushing so hard.
Now, when the weight came down, what did it feel like? I mean, can you explain what the pressure was like on your arms and stuff like that?
I'll be honest with you. I remember when I took that weight off, it literally felt like I had like a a dump truck on top of me. I could actually feel the weight, swaying, and the movement of the weight because it was so heavy.
Right.
I was like, my God, and I just said, I just brought it down. And when I came back up,
Did you feel strong coming up? Did you
I
feel
felt
like you had
pretty
it?
strong coming up. And Eric was spotting me. And what happened was the guys saw it wasn't going to go back on the rack.
Okay, so they pulled it back.
So Frankie and the other guy kind of cupped the end of the weight.
They put it back to you.
Now, they really didn't lift it because people don't know, mathematically and all of that there, if one guy would have pushed too much, that thing was going.
Yeah, it would have slipped.
So they kind of just cupped it and gave it a slight lift. And now they couldn't have timed it together perfectly. It's not going to happen that way.
Right.
But when they did lift it, it kind of straightened the bar out, and then
Because you could never have gotten it back on the rack. Now,
No.
was the bar bent?
it was bent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what happened. So when I actually pushed because I don't really go wide, I go shoulder
Yeah.
width. When I pushed it, I felt the bar
Bending?
going first, and then I felt it unhook.
I wonder if the bar was even rated to hold that
I don't
weight.
think it was.
It probably could have snapped right in your
Yeah,
face,
probably.
which would have been even better.
So it was a good bend, So I felt the bar, the steel bending, and then I felt it unhook, and then that's when I got that wobble because when it unhooked after the bend, it kind of popped off, and I felt the and I was like, and then I was trying to time it with the on the downstroke, and that's when they saw it, they grabbed it, they put it back, but I did get it.
Yeah.
And
That made you famous, though, that lift.
people flipped out, man.
That was a cover of Muscular Development, wasn't it? One of your covers?
The cover was the dumbbell
Oh, the
curls.
dumbbell curl. But they had that. I remember that bench being in the bench.
Oh, it was like a whole back page. They did Don Ross did full color. It was
And that's people were outraged, obviously. at
yeah,
that.
then that's when the sparks started flying, man. Everybody,
And then you later on you went on from Twin Lab, you moved to Metrex for many years.
Yeah, then I did Worldwide Sports Nutrition with Dave McCabe
Right.
for a little while. I had a lot of fun with him.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, anytime someone mentions my name to him, it's a big
He
smile.
just contacted me the other day. He has a new company out now.
Yeah.
He sold his company to the company that owns Metrex now. It was Metrex Worldwide it became, but he did well for I actually went to Dubai with him in 1996 with Milan Sarsham. But your biggest stint, I guess, was with Metrex. I mean, you worked for them for what, 10 years maybe?
It was probably more than that.
Was it?
Yeah, maybe 12, 13 year run.
Scott Connolly was very impressed with you.
Scott loved me, yeah. But I used to go out with him.
He liked to drink with you, right?
Yeah, we used to go to clubs, and he just loved being with me, And I went to Japan, and when I sat, the Marines took me out on the air deck. They sat me in a Harrier and fired up the jet engines and all that. I was sitting in the cockpit, man. And so what happened was when I took a picture with all the guys, we superposed Metrex label on the jet. And when I came home, I gave it to Scott as a gift. It was a big photo of all the Marines, in the air wing with the Metrex on the plane. And Scott was like almost in tears. And he hung, because he was in Vietnam.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah.
So he hung it in his office. I was probably the only dude who ever did some military stuff like that with the jet and the guys and all that. And the guys were very excited to have me there.
Scott Connolly was the owner of Metrex at the time. Yeah.
Right, he owned Metrex at the time. And so I got the clearance from the general, because the Marines and the aviation, they were asked, said, can we clear Jimmy the Bull to go out on the deck? You can't go out on the deck.
No.
Sit in a Harrier jet.
Well, they knew you were in the
right, because I was prior in the Marine Corps, so the general cleared it. So I was able to do all of that, and that's why Scott really loved
You did a lot. You traveled the world with Metrex. And,
yeah, man, I did.
And you really, for a guy who never competed in a single bodybuilding show, and really wasn't a powerlifter and wasn't a strongman, you defined your own segment as the power bodybuilder.
Yeah,
you had the moniker the Iron Bull. You had your own wrist straps. You represented maybe 4 or 5 companies over the course of your span of your career.
Yeah.
You had contracts longer than any bodybuilder that I know.
Yeah, I probably went almost 30 years, right?
Yeah.
Straight,
At what point did you say to yourself, you know what, that's enough? My body had enough, because you're really, in a sense, people should really, look up to you, because you had the sense enough to say to yourself, enough is enough. A lot of these guys don't. They wind up dying of a heart attack, under being too heavy under the bar, or they have an accident, they tear something, they hurt themselves. You stepped away before anything bad happened. Not many people can do that.
I don't know if I give myself that credit that you give me. Mm-hmm. A chain of events kind of slowly bumped me out of the sport. I mean, as time was moving on, companies were changing. Mm-hmm. They were going more towards fitness and CrossFit and, cycling. It was like different stuff was coming into play. The behemoth guys will slowly, I was friends with Sven Carlson and all those guys, But I have to say, when I finally faded out, and then my good friend of mine, Keith Angelini at the time, was one of the guys who used to put all the events together because he knew me like you. He knew what I was about, so he used to book events and was very successful because Keith knew how to use me.
Right.
He knew, what people to target, and he knew how to do the whole setup. So we had a good run with Keith. But then when he left the company, Tamara took on. Remember her, Tamara Schaefer?
From Metrics.
She took over, and she kind of knew how to use me too. Till at one time she wanted me to do 2, super curls in one show, and I told her it ain't happening.
Yeah.
I'm doing one. It was at the Vegas event, but. So it slowly started to fade, and that was all right. I trained, but I wasn't doing too many seminars.
Yeah, but you stopped doing the crazy lifts.
Yeah, I did. Then I slowed down because it wasn't necessary anymore.
But some guys never want to give that up. I mean, it's obviously a high. You had to feel a high when you were under that bar, and thousands of people were watching you when you said we started the interview at the Arnold Classic doing those 150-pound dumbbell curls.
Oh, that was amazing.
I mean, you gave that up. A lot of people can't give that up. They
Yeah.
wind up hurting themselves, and you stepped away. And you have 2 beautiful daughters, obviously, that are full grown now.
In that whole thing, I met somebody.
A lot of guys, don't have the success you do. A lot of guys at your age, in their 50s, might not even be here in your sport.
I have to say, when I did finally I traveled with Frank Zeppi. Frank Zeppi.
Sure.
He's a good friend of mine too for many years. I traveled with Frank with Metrics for 12 years with him. So what happened was, we had many good times together too. When I finally got out of Metrics, they put Frank in a position where he could hire and fire people. So he called me up, and he's like, Jimmy, he goes, I got a promotion. I says, that's great, Frank. You want back in? I'm like, can you do that? He's like, yeah. So he actually got me another contract.
Yeah, you were working for a couple of years more, right?
Yeah. So Frankie actually got me in for like another year or two. You know. But I was more of a spokesperson at that point. I wasn't really doing the lifts, but I was just grateful that Frank got me in for a couple more years where I was still able to, meet people and travel and still have some fun,
What's the future hold for Jimmy the Bull? That's what everyone wants to know. I mean, obviously you're on RX Muscle as a regular on the Heavy Muscle TV show.
Yeah.
Every once in a while we let you run your own show.
Right.
What would you like to see yourself doing, 5-10 years from now in this industry?
I mean, I'll be honest with you, Dave. I've always been, even when I was a kid, I've always been a joker and an entertainer. I used to tell my stories to my friends. Like if I was out one night and I met a bunch of chicks and crazy crap happened, which I could go on forever.
Yeah, you have a lot of those stories.
My friends would be on the floor and they would always say, Jimmy, man, nobody could tell a story like you, because I would put them there, the way I explain my stories. But so I really, I work for a living, but entertainment is really,
your forte.
What I really love, because I did a couple of movies,
Yeah, no, you did.
Did Cage Fury.
Yeah, we were in Batman together.
Batman Forever. I love that stuff. I really did.
I think you're a great character actor, and we've used you. We've done skits of
I know, and I love doing it. And I'm
yeah.
always like, what? Maybe one day, we could step it up and we could end up somewhere where we really.
Well, RX Muscle's growing, the TV program's growing, and I'm actually proud to say you're our first guest on Behind the Muscle. I'm sure we'll have many more. And I
appreciate you having.
If people liked the interview, they can see you on a regular basis on the RX Muscle website, on all the TV programming we have.
I have to say, ever since you had me on, it's been years now since we've been doing it, but. The fans do enjoy it. They enjoy the stories, and me and you have a good chemistry together. We're friends for 25 years too, so it all connects. It all goes together pretty good, So
we'll be friends forever, Jimmy.
I love you, bro.
I love you.
This song is really dedicated to my mother. My mother is still alive, but she loves this, and I love my mother, so I play it for her. So I'm gonna play it for you guys, and. Like I said, I'm not professional. I could screw up here and there, but this is a song that I did make myself. And the people here at Steinway in Melville are nice enough to let me come in here and bang on the keys. Okay?